Ladies and gentlemen, 1. Deception with malice. Lies corrode trust like rust on steel. When someone deceives you not out of error but with intent, they show contempt for your judgment. To forgive habitual dishonesty is to invite destruction. 2. Disloyalty in crisis. The true measure of a person is not how they treat you in comfort but in adversity. If they abandon you when the storm rages, they were never with you at all. A friend or partner who betrays you in hardship is one you must release. 3. Disrespect for your worth. If someone repeatedly belittles you, disregards your dignity, or undermines your value, they do not see you as an equal. A person who does not respect you cannot love you truly. 4. Treachery in love. Love is built on fidelity, not just of the body but of the soul. Infidelity, whether emotional or physical, is a violation of the sacred trust between two people. To accept it is to welcome further wounds. 5. Exploitation of kindness. Kindness is a virtue, but in the hands of the wrong person it becomes a tool for manipulation. If someone repeatedly takes advantage of your generosity, they see your goodwill as weakness. Wisdom demands that you step away. 6. Betrayal of secrets. Trust is a fortress. When someone exposes your vulnerabilities, shares your secrets, or weaponizes your past against you, they show their true nature. Once spoken, words cannot be undone, and neither can this form of treachery. 7. Sabotage of your growth. A true friend or partner uplifts you, while a false one seeks to hinder you. If someone resents your success, discourages your ambition, or seeks to hold you back out of envy, they are an anchor, not an ally. Cut the rope. Deception is among the most corrosive acts one can experience in relationships. It is not just a breach of trust, but an attack on the very foundation of human connection. A simple lie may seem insignificant, but when deception is driven by malice, it transforms into something far more dangerous. This kind of dishonesty is not a mistake, not an act of ignorance or miscommunication, but a deliberate choice to mislead, manipulate, or control. It is a conscious betrayal, and it reveals a deeper flaw in the person who commits it. Malicious deception is not an accident, but an intentional effort to distort reality for personal gain, to evade responsibility, or to inflict harm upon another. Such actions do not stem from love or care, but from selfishness, cowardice, and often cruelty. A relationship, whether romantic, platonic, or familial, relies on truth. It is the unspoken contract between individuals that allows for trust, security, and growth. When one person deliberately deceives another, they shatter that contract. Even if the lie remains undiscovered for some time, the damage has already begun. A person who deceives with malice has made a choice. They have placed their own interests above the well-being of another. They have chosen to distort reality rather than face it, to use manipulation rather than honesty, to control rather than respect. In doing so, they erode the very essence of what makes a relationship meaningful. When someone engages in malicious deception, they are not merely altering facts, they are shaping another person's perception of reality. This is a dangerous power, for those who can control what others believe can control their emotions, decisions, and even their sense of self. This is why deception is not just a minor offense, it is a form of control. It is an attempt to dominate another person's mind by feeding them falsehoods, while withholding the truth. The deceiver becomes the architect of a false world, leaving the victim to navigate a reality built on lies. One of the most harmful aspects of malicious deception is its ability to create self-doubt in the person being deceived. The victim may begin to question their own perceptions, their instincts, and even their worth. When deception is uncovered, it often leads to a devastating realization that the reality they believed in was never real. The person they trusted was not who they thought they were. The relationship they cherished was built on lies. This can leave lasting emotional scars, leading to deep insecurity, difficulty trusting others, and even self-blame. A person who has been deceived in this way may struggle to differentiate between genuine and false relationships in the future, making them more vulnerable to further manipulation. The deceiver, however, operates from a place of arrogance and self-interest. They believe they are smarter, more cunning, and more powerful than the one they deceive. They assume their lies will never be discovered, or if they are, that they will be forgiven. This belief reveals their fundamental disregard for others. A person who lies with malice does not respect the intelligence or dignity of the person they deceive. They see them as an object to be manipulated, a pawn in their game rather than an equal with independent thoughts and emotions. In this way, deception becomes more than just a lie, it becomes an act of profound disrespect. Malicious deception is particularly insidious in romantic relationships. When love is built on falsehoods, the betrayed partner often experiences a profound sense of loss, not just of the relationship, but of their own sense of reality. They may wonder how much of what they shared was genuine and how much was fabrication. A person who deceives their partner out of malice, whether through infidelity, financial dishonesty, or emotional manipulation, destroys more than trust. They shatter the illusion of safety and connection that love is supposed to provide. And when someone is hurt in this way, it is not only the relationship that is lost, but often a part of themselves as well. Friendships, too, can be poisoned by deception. A friend who lies with intent to harm, to gain an advantage, or to manipulate is not a friend at all. True friendship is rooted in honesty, even when the truth is uncomfortable. A friend who hides their true intentions, who pretends to be loyal while secretly acting against you, is a danger. They create an illusion of camaraderie while plotting betrayal. When the deception is revealed, the pain is not just in the lie itself, but in the realization that someone who was believed to be trustworthy was, in fact, an enemy in disguise. The workplace is another environment where a malicious deception can thrive. Colleagues or superiors who deceive for personal gain, whether by stealing credit, spreading falsehoods, or setting others up for failure, undermine not just individuals, but the entire foundation of cooperation. A workplace should be built on integrity, with each person contributing fairly and honestly. When deception infiltrates professional relationships, it creates a toxic environment where ambition is valued over ethics, and success is achieved not through merit but through manipulation. In such environments, the deceiver thrives, while the honest suffer. Deception is often justified by those who commit it. They may claim it was necessary, that they were protecting someone, or that the truth would have been too painful. But these justifications do not erase the fact that they have stripped another person of their right to make informed choices. To lie maliciously is to play God with someone else's reality. It is an act of supreme arrogance, one that assumes the deceiver has the right to determine what another person should and should not know. But no one has that right. Truth belongs to all, and to take it away from someone is to violate their autonomy. It is natural to feel anger when deceived, but the most important response is not rage, nor even revenge. It is recognition. Recognizing a malicious deceiver for what they are is the first step toward freedom. One cannot change their nature, nor should one try. A person who lies with intent will do so again. Forgiveness in this case is not a virtue but a self-inflicted wound. The wise do not tolerate such people in their lives. They do not seek to change them or to extract an apology. They simply remove themselves from the reach of the deceiver's lies. There are many faults that can be overlooked in a relationship, but malicious deception is not one of them. It is a fundamental breach of trust, a poison that infects the foundation of any bond. Those who lie with intent do not deserve second chances, for their deception is not an accident but a choice. And a person who chooses to deceive once will always be capable of doing so again. The only wise course of action is to walk away, with eyes open and heart guarded, never allowing the deceiver the power to harm again. Disloyalty in hardship is one of the most revealing betrayals a person can experience. It is in times of struggle, adversity, and despair that the true nature of a relationship is exposed. Loyalty is easy when conditions are favorable, when there is no pressure, no discomfort, and no real test of commitment. But when hardship arrives, when everything seems to be crumbling, when the burden of struggle weighs heavily on the soul, that is when the true value of a person's loyalty is revealed. A person who abandons, betrays, or turns their back in difficult times was never truly loyal to begin with. They may have offered companionship in moments of ease, but when loyalty was truly required, they chose to leave. This kind of betrayal is not just a personal disappointment, it is a profound insight into human nature. Hardship is inevitable. Life is unpredictable, and no one is immune to misfortune. People lose jobs, fall into financial distress, suffer illness, and face emotional turmoil. There are moments when everything seems uncertain, when the future appears bleak, and when the weight of suffering feels unbearable. In such moments, a loyal friend, partner, or companion does not need to have all the answers, nor do they need to solve the problem. Their presence alone, their willingness to stand firm, is enough to remind a person that they are not alone. True loyalty is not about convenience. It is about commitment. It is about remaining steadfast even when circumstances are challenging. But disloyalty and hardship manifests in many ways. It can be a partner who distances themselves when financial struggles arise, choosing comfort elsewhere rather than enduring difficulties together. It can be a friend who disappears when misfortune strikes, no longer answering calls or offering support, as if the weight of another's burden is too much to bear. It can be family members who withdraw when one of their own stumbles, more concerned with reputation or personal comfort than with standing beside those who need them most. The form of disloyalty may vary, but its message is always the same when times are hard. Some people choose themselves over the relationship. The pain of this betrayal is deep, because it is not just about abandonment, it is about the realization that the bond that once seemed strong was only temporary. It forces a painful truth upon those who have been betrayed, that loyalty is not a quality possessed by all, and that some relationships are conditional. Some people remain only as long as they benefit, only as long as they are comfortable, and the moment hardship appears, they retreat. It is not just an act of leaving, it is a revelation that the relationship was never built on true loyalty to begin with. One of the most devastating aspects of disloyalty and hardship is that it often comes from those who were once trusted the most. A friend who was always present in times of celebration, but absent in times of grief. A partner who pledged devotion, but withdrew when struggle arrived. A family member who claimed unconditional love but vanished when sacrifice was required. These betrayals are the hardest to accept. It is difficult to understand how someone who once seemed so close could so easily turn away. This is because loyalty, when genuine, is not dependent on circumstances. A person who is truly loyal remains through every season, not just when it is easy, but especially when it is difficult. Some justify their disloyalty by claiming that they could not handle the situation, that the burden was too heavy, or that they did not know how to help. But loyalty is not about having solutions, it is about presence. A loyal person does not need to fix everything. They only need to show that they are willing to stay. Disloyalty, therefore, is not a failure of ability, but a failure of character. It is not about being unable to help, but about being unwilling to endure discomfort for the sake of another. A person who cannot stand beside someone in their weakest moments is not a person who can be relied upon at all. When someone walks away in the face of hardship, they make a choice that cannot be undone. Trust, once broken in this way, rarely heals. A person who has been abandoned in their darkest moments does not forget. Even if the betrayer returns with apologies, with explanations, with regrets, the memory of their absence remains. They revealed their true nature when it mattered most, and no words can erase that truth. There is a difference between making a mistake and making a choice. Disloyalty and hardship is always a choice. It is a decision to put self-interest above commitment, to seek comfort rather than endure challenge, to flee rather than stand firm. Such a choice speaks volumes about a person's character, and once it is made, it is nearly impossible to restore what was lost. The response to this form of betrayal should not be bitterness but wisdom. Once someone has shown their willingness to abandon in hardship, they have revealed their limits. It is unwise to trust them again with the same level of openness, for they have already proven what they will do when circumstances become difficult. True loyalty is rare, and those who possess it should be valued. But those who have demonstrated disloyalty and hardship should not be given the chance to do so again. It is not cruelty to remove such people from one's life. It is self-respect. Life is too unpredictable, and hardships will come again. When they do, it is far better to face them alone than to rely on someone who has already proven they will not stand by your side. Disrespect and undermining are among the most insidious forms of betrayal in any relationship. They do not always come in the form of loud arguments, physical aggression, or open hostility. Instead, they often manifest subtly, eroding confidence, diminishing self-worth, and creating an environment where one person's presence is constantly devalued. When someone consistently disrespects or undermines another, It is not just a sign of a lack of appreciation. It is an attack on their dignity. True relationships, whether they are romantic, familial, professional, or friendships, are built on mutual respect. Without it, there can be no genuine trust, love, or loyalty. Disrespect comes in many forms. It can be verbal, such as constant criticism, belittling comments, or dismissive remarks. It can be non-verbal, expressed through eye-rolling, ignoring, or deliberately excluding someone from important decisions. It can be public, where someone humiliates another in front of others, or private, where the words and actions slowly chip away at a person's confidence over time. A person who is consistently disrespected in a relationship may begin to doubt themselves, question their worth, and feel as though their presence does not matter. Over time, this treatment can become emotionally and psychologically damaging. Undermining is equally damaging, if not more so. It is the act of subtly or overtly sabotaging another person's confidence, credibility, or success. Unlike open conflict, undermining is often disguised as concern, advice, or even humor. A person who undermines another may pretend to support them while secretly planting seeds of doubt. They may make small, seemingly harmless comments that suggest incompetence, weakness, or inability. In a professional setting, this could be a colleague who constantly interrupts, takes credit for another's work, or subtly discredits ideas in meetings. In a romantic relationship, it could be a partner who makes jokes at the other's expense, dismisses their ambitions, or subtly discourages them from pursuing their goals. One of the most damaging aspects of disrespect and undermining is that it is often cumulative. A single disrespectful comment may not seem significant, but when repeated over time, it creates an atmosphere of negativity and insecurity. A person who is constantly belittled, dismissed, or made to feel small will eventually internalize these messages. They may begin to believe that they are not capable, that their opinions do not matter, or that they are somehow unworthy of respect. This is why disrespect and undermining should never be tolerated. Once they take root, they poison the foundation of a relationship, turning what should be a source of support into a source of harm. People who engage in disrespect and undermining often do so because of their own insecurities. They feel the need to put others down in order to feel superior. They may be jealous of another person's success, threatened by their confidence, or simply accustomed to controlling others through manipulation. However, understanding their motives does not justify their actions. No one has the right to degrade another person, regardless of their own struggles. True strength does not come from diminishing others, it comes from uplifting them. A person who truly values a relationship will not seek to undermine the other, but will instead celebrate their growth, encourage their success, and offer support in times of struggle. Disrespect can also take the form of inconsistency and broken promises. When someone repeatedly says one thing and does another, they show a lack of regard for the other person's feelings and expectations. They may make commitments they have no intention of keeping, dismiss concerns when confronted, or refuse to take responsibility for their actions. Over time, this erodes trust, making it impossible to rely on their words or actions. A relationship built on broken promises is not a relationship at all, it is a cycle of disappointment. The damage caused by disrespect and undermining is not always immediate. Unlike a sudden betrayal, such as infidelity or outright deception, this form of mistreatment works slowly, breaking a person down over time. This makes it particularly dangerous because it can be difficult to recognize until significant harm has already been done. A person who is subjected to constant disrespect may begin to normalize the behavior, convincing themselves that they are overreacting, that they are too sensitive, or that this is just how relationships work. But a relationship where one person is consistently belittled, dismissed, or made to feel inadequate is not a healthy one, it is toxic. It is important to recognize that disrespect is not always loud or obvious. It does not always come in the form of yelling or insults. Sometimes it is the quiet undermining of confidence, the subtle dismissing of opinions, the passive-aggressive comments that leave a person questioning their worth. It is in the way someone consistently interrupts, disregards boundaries, or treats another as an afterthought. When these behaviors become a pattern, they reveal a fundamental lack of respect. And once respect is lost, it is nearly impossible to restore. No one deserves to be in a relationship where they are constantly made to feel small. A relationship should be a place of safety, encouragement, and mutual respect. When someone repeatedly undermines another, they are not being playful, realistic, or helpful, they are being destructive. The response to such behavior should not be tolerance or continued effort to seek validation from the disrespectful person. Instead, the wise choice is to recognize the behavior for what it is and remove oneself from an environment that does not foster respect and appreciation. Life is too short to spend it proving worth to those who refuse to acknowledge it. Infidelity and treachery in love are among the most painful forms of betrayal a person can experience. Love, at its core, is built on trust, mutual commitment, and emotional security. When that foundation is shattered by deceit, it not only damages the relationship, but also wounds the very essence of the betrayed individual. The pain of infidelity is not just about physical betrayal, it is about broken promises, shattered expectations, and the devastating realization that someone once cherished and trusted has chosen to deceive. It creates an emotional wound that lingers long after the betrayal itself, leaving scars that may never fully heal. Infidelity takes many forms, from emotional to physical, from secret flirtations to full-blown affairs. Regardless of its nature, the essence of infidelity lies in the violation of trust. When two people enter into a relationship, they make an unspoken or explicit commitment to each other. They share dreams, vulnerabilities, and a sense of exclusivity that distinguishes their bond from all others. A person who chooses to be unfaithful knowingly violates this commitment, prioritizing their own desires over the emotional well-being of their partner. It is not simply a mistake. It is a decision that disregards the trust that was placed in them. What makes infidelity so devastating is the depth of its deception. It is not just about being with someone else, it is about the lies that are told to cover it up. The cheating partner often engages in manipulation, secrecy, and dishonesty to sustain the betrayal. They may gaslight their partner, making them question their instincts and perceptions. They may offer false reassurances, pretending that everything is normal, while leading a double life. This level of deception compounds the pain of betrayal, as it is not just about the act itself, but the intricate web of lies woven around it. Beyond the immediate pain, infidelity can have lasting consequences on the betrayed person's self-esteem and ability to trust in the future. A person who has been cheated on often struggles with feelings of inadequacy, wondering if they were not enough or if they did something wrong. They may replay moments in their mind, searching for signs they missed, blaming themselves for not seeing the betrayal sooner. This self-doubt can persist long after the relationship has ended, affecting future relationships and making it difficult to trust again. The emotional damage of betrayal is not easily undone, as it plants seeds of insecurity that take time and effort to uproot. Treachery in love extends beyond physical infidelity. It includes emotional betrayal, where a partner may not physically cheat but forms a deep emotional bond with someone else, sharing secrets, affection, and intimate thoughts that should have been reserved for their significant other. Emotional betrayal can be just as devastating as physical infidelity because it signifies a shift in loyalty. When one partner seeks comfort, validation, or excitement outside the relationship, they create an emotional distance that weakens the bond between them. Love is not just about physical commitment, it is about emotional presence and devotion. When a partner invests emotionally in someone else while still being in a relationship, they have already severed an essential part of the connection. Treachery in love also takes the form of deception about intentions. Some people enter relationships without the intention of being faithful, but pretend otherwise to gain the benefits of a committed relationship. They may say all the right words, make promises of loyalty, and create an illusion of love, all while knowing they have no intention of honoring those commitments. This kind of deception is particularly cruel because it is not just a betrayal of actions, but a betrayal of the entire relationship's foundation. It means that one person was investing in a bond that the other never truly valued. Another painful aspect of infidelity and treachery is the way it changes the dynamics of love itself. Love is meant to be a source of strength, security, and happiness. It is a place where two people can be their truest selves without fear of being deceived. When betrayal enters the picture, Love becomes a source of pain and doubt. A relationship that was once filled with warmth and trust turns into a battlefield of suspicion and insecurity. Even if the relationship continues after infidelity, it is rarely the same. The betrayed partner may find themselves constantly questioning their partner's actions, feeling anxious when they are apart, or struggling to rebuild the lost trust. In some cases, the pain of betrayal lingers so deeply that love itself begins to feel like a risk rather than a refuge. People who betray in love often attempt to justify their actions. They may blame their partner, claiming that the relationship was not fulfilling or that they were driven to cheat because of neglect. They may argue that love is complicated, that people make mistakes, or that they never meant to hurt anyone. However, infidelity is not an accident. It is a series of choices. A person who betrays does so knowingly, understanding that their actions will cause harm yet proceeding anyway. These justifications are merely attempts to evade responsibility, to lessen the guilt of their betrayal. But no matter the excuses given, the pain inflicted remains the same. For the betrayed, healing from infidelity and treachery is a long and difficult journey. It requires more than just time. It requires deep self-reflection, rebuilding of self-worth, and often a re-evaluation of what love should be. Some choose to forgive and rebuild the relationship, while others recognize that trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to restore. What matters most is that the betrayed person does not allow the actions of another to define their worth. Infidelity and treachery say more about the character of the betrayer than the one who was betrayed. True love should never come at the cost of one's dignity, self-respect, or emotional well-being. A person who is capable of such betrayal was never truly deserving of the love they were given. Exploitation of kindness is one of the most insidious forms of betrayal. It preys on the generosity, compassion, and goodwill of others, turning virtues into vulnerabilities. A kind person gives freely, not because they expect something in return, but because they believe in the goodness of helping others. However, when kindness is taken advantage of, when it is manipulated for selfish gain, it becomes a source of pain rather than fulfillment. This type of betrayal is particularly cruel because it does not just harm the person who is being exploited, it diminishes faith in human decency itself. A kind person often assumes that others will act with the same sincerity and goodwill that they offer. They trust easily, believing that their gestures of support, love, and selflessness will be appreciated or reciprocated. But some people see kindness not as a virtue to be respected, but as a weakness to be used. They recognize the giving nature of a kind individual and exploit it for their own benefit. This exploitation can take many forms, from financial manipulation to emotional dependence, from false promises to taking advantage of someone's patience and forgiveness. The exploiter does not value the kindness they receive. They see it as an opportunity to take without giving. One of the most common ways kindness is exploited is through emotional manipulation. A person who knows they are dealing with someone compassionate may use guilt, sympathy, or fabricated struggles to gain support. They may present themselves as victims always in need of help, knowing that the kind-hearted person will not turn them away. They may constantly ask for favors, reassurance, or sacrifices, never considering the emotional toll it takes on the giver. Over time, the kind person finds themselves drained, exhausted from always being the one to fix problems, to provide comfort, and to be the pillar of support. The exploiter, on the other hand, takes and takes, without gratitude, without acknowledging the burden they impose. Financial exploitation is another way kindness is abused. Some people see generosity as an endless resource to be tapped into. They ask for money, for gifts, financial support, always with a justification that tugs at the heartstrings of the giver. They may make promises to repay, but never do. They may pretend to be in dire situations that require urgent help, playing on the kindness of others to fulfill their own needs. The kind person, wanting to help, gives willingly, believing they are making a difference. But over time they begin to realize that their help is not appreciated, it is expected. What once felt like an act of generosity becomes an obligation, and they find themselves caught in a cycle of being used. Relationships, whether romantic, familial, or friendships, can also become arenas for the exploitation of kindness. In toxic relationships, one partner may take advantage of the other's patience and forgiveness. They may make mistakes, break promises, or even cause harm, knowing that the kind-hearted partner will always give them another chance. They manipulate apologies, offer temporary affection, and make just enough effort to keep the person from walking away. They rely on the kindness of their partner to overlook their flaws, to endure mistreatment, and to continue loving them despite repeated betrayals. Over time, the kind person begins to feel trapped, unable to walk away because they still believe in the potential for change. But in reality, the exploiter has no intention of changing. They simply know that kindness will keep them from facing consequences. In friendships, kindness can be exploited when one friend constantly gives while the other only takes. Some people are only present when they need something, reaching out when they are in trouble but disappearing when things are going well. They lean on the kindness of their friend for advice, emotional support, and companionship during tough times, but they are absent when the roles are reversed. They do not offer the same level of care because they were never in the friendship to give, they were there to receive. The kind friend eventually realizes that their generosity was never valued, it was merely a tool of convenience. At its core, the exploitation of kindness is a reflection of a selfish mindset. Those who take advantage of kindness do not appreciate it because they believe they are entitled to it. They do not see it as a gift but as a resource they can use whenever needed. They rarely consider the emotional, financial, or mental toll their actions take on the person they exploit. They simply assume that the kindness will always be there without ever questioning whether they are deserving of it. The most painful realization for a kind person is that not everyone values kindness the way they do. They may start to question themselves, wondering if they were foolish for being generous, for trusting too easily, for believing in the goodness of people who never intended to treat them with the same care. They may become wary, guarded, reluctant to offer the same warmth they once did. This is one of the most tragic consequences of exploited kindness. It can turn a compassionate heart into a cautious one. It can make a person question whether kindness is even worth giving. However, kindness should never be mistaken for weakness. A person who gives, who forgives, who supports others is not naive or foolish. They possess a strength that those who exploit can never understand. True kindness is not about being blind to exploitation. It is about choosing to be good despite the risks. But kindness must be accompanied by wisdom. It is not about giving endlessly to those who take without appreciation. It is about knowing when to give and when to step back. It is about recognizing those who value kindness and those who merely use it. A kind person must learn to set boundaries, to recognize when their generosity is being exploited rather than appreciated. They must understand that it is not selfish to say no, to walk away from those who take without giving, to protect their own well-being. True kindness does not mean enduring endless mistreatment. It means offering love and generosity to those who truly respect and cherish it. A kind heart should never be a tool for others to manipulate. It should be a gift given only to those who understand its worth. Sabotage of growth is one of the most harmful betrayals that can occur in any relationship, whether personal, professional, or social. Growth is an essential part of life. People strive to improve themselves, achieve their goals, and evolve into better versions of who they were. However, there are those who, either out of jealousy, insecurity, or selfishness, deliberately hold others back. They fear being left behind, resent the progress of others, or seek to maintain control by keeping someone from reaching their full potential. This kind of sabotage is not always obvious. Sometimes it is disguised as concern, subtle discouragement, or manipulative tactics that slowly erode confidence and ambition. One of the most common ways growth is sabotaged is through discouragement. When someone constantly dismisses or belittles another person's ambitions, they plant seeds of doubt. They may make comments like, "Are you sure you can handle that?" Or "That's too risky, you should just stay where you are." While these statements may seem like concern, they are often rooted in fear that the person will outgrow them, change, or succeed beyond their expectations. This type of discouragement can be especially harmful when it comes from someone whose opinion is valued, such as a partner, friend, or mentor. Over time, hearing constant doubt and negativity can make a person start to question their own abilities, holding them back from taking the necessary steps toward growth. Another form of sabotage comes in the way of withholding support. Growth often requires encouragement, opportunities, and sometimes even direct help from others. When someone close to a person refuses to provide the necessary support, whether emotionally, financially, or through resources, they are effectively blocking their progress. This happens in relationships where a partner does not celebrate achievements, or in workplaces where a superior withholds a promotion out of fear that an employee will surpass them. It is an act of control, a way to keep someone from moving forward so that they remain dependent, stagnant, or within reach. Manipulation is also a powerful tool in sabotaging growth. Some people use guilt to keep others from pursuing their dreams. A person might say, if you take that job you won't have time for me, or if you go back to school you'll change and I don't know if it will work out. These statements place an unfair burden on the person trying to grow, making them feel as though their ambitions are selfish. In reality, growth is not a betrayal, it is a natural and necessary part of life. But manipulators make it seem as though the pursuit of personal success comes at the cost of relationships, forcing a difficult choice that should not have to be made. In many cases, sabotage comes from people who feel threatened by someone else's potential. They fear that if the person grows, they will no longer need them or will surpass them in success and confidence. This is common in toxic relationships, where one partner may subtly undermine the other's self-esteem to keep them from realizing their worth. They may make sarcastic remarks, highlight past failures, or remind them of their insecurities whenever they express a desire to improve. The goal is to keep them in a state of self-doubt so that they never find the strength to leave, succeed, or change. Sabotage of growth also happens in the workplace. Employees who show potential may find themselves held back by supervisors or colleagues who feel threatened. Instead of encouraging development, they may withhold key information, exclude them from important projects, or create obstacles that make success harder to achieve. In some cases, they may even spread false information or damage reputations to ensure that the person never gets the opportunities they deserve. This kind of workplace sabotage not only affects individual careers, but also creates a toxic environment where progress is feared rather than celebrated. Another form of growth sabotage is distraction. Some people intentionally create chaos or drama in order to divert attention away from progress. This happens in relationships where one person constantly causes conflict whenever the other is trying to focus on self-improvement. For example, a person who is trying to build a business or advance in their career may suddenly find themselves dealing with unnecessary emotional turmoil caused by their partner's insecurities. Every time they take a step forward, a new issue arises: arguments, guilt trips, or emotional manipulation designed to keep them preoccupied. The constant distractions keep them from focusing on their goals, making growth nearly impossible. Sometimes, sabotage is disguised as protection. A person might say, "I just don't want you to get hurt," or "I'm only looking out for you," while actively discouraging progress. While caution is sometimes necessary, there is a difference between offering genuine concern and using fear to keep someone from advancing. True support acknowledges risks while still encouraging growth. But those who sabotage under the guise of protection are often more concerned with maintaining control than with the well-being of the person they claim to care about. The impact of growth sabotage is profound. It creates self-doubt, limits opportunities, and forces people into a life smaller than what they are capable of achieving. It can take years for someone to realize they have been held back, and by then they may have lost valuable time and opportunities. What makes it particularly painful is that it often comes from those who are supposed to be supportive partners, friends, colleagues, or mentors. When someone close deliberately prevents another from achieving their full potential, it is not just an act of control, it is a deep betrayal of trust. Recognizing growth sabotage is the first step toward overcoming it. It requires understanding that not everyone wants to see success, and that sometimes the people closest can be the ones who hold others back the most. It also requires the strength to set boundaries, to surround oneself with people who genuinely support growth, and to push forward despite discouragement. No one should have to dim their potential to make someone else comfortable. Growth is a personal journey, and no one has the right to stand in the way of another's progress. The sabotage of growth is a betrayal that can hold a person back from reaching their true potential, but only if they allow it. Recognizing the forces that seek to limit progress, whether they come from others or from within, is the first step toward breaking free. Growth is not a luxury, it is a necessity. No one should have to shrink themselves to make others comfortable or sacrifice their dreams to maintain relationships that do not support their evolution. True success is not just about achieving goals, it is about having the courage to pursue them, despite the obstacles placed in the way. Surround yourself with those who celebrate your growth, challenge the voices that seek to hold you back, and remember that the path forward belongs to you alone. Keep moving forward, unapologetically.